are looking at Lincoln Financial Field, the site of today's game between the Eagles and the Bears. Philadelphia back home after three weekends on the road. The first game back here since October 6th, and it has been a long time coming. Thank you for joining us on the Kickoff Show, presented by Axalta. Amy Campbell, Fran Duffy. The Birds are back in black. We decided to go with our All Blacks in here today as well. Fran, the team back home after what feels like an eternity on the road, and I know that they are so excited to be able to play in front of their home crowd today.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask any of the players on this team, they will always say that Lincoln Financial Field has the best home field advantage in the NFL. So after being away for a month, being able to come home and have the friendly confines of Lincoln Financial Field into what is a crucial stretch here, including the bye week, yeah, very, very big for this team.
All right, let's not waste another second. In this studio, we are sending it back to Lincoln Financial Field as the Eagles are warming up in preparation for their matchup with Chicago, a Bears team that is 3-4 coming off of 3 straight losses. Doug Peterson says, hey, this is a dangerous football team. Dallas was on a 3-game losing streak when they came in and hit us in the mouth, so not to be taken lightly here today against a really strong Chicago team.
Yeah, and being able to stop a run game with Chicago. I mean, they were able to get the run game going last week against the LA Chargers. The Eagles have to be able to stop the run this week if they're going to be able to keep that losing streak going for the Chicago Bears. You know, we're seeing some of the young members of the front seven right now, live warm-ups over at Lincoln Financial Field. Obviously, Malcolm Jenkins going to be a big part of that run defense. They've got to keep David Montgomery from getting going. The Chicago offense, they've not been able to get big plays offensively through the run or through the passing game, but you've got to be able to lock them down. Don't let them grind the football and move the ball slowly down the field.
Gosh, you can just feel the energy from these guys. Look at this. I love this energy from one of the leaders of the defense, Malcolm Jenkins. As we take a look at the defensive starters for this game, one of the big ones that jumps out here is just the fact that this secondary is continuing to gain strength and come back together with Mills, Darby, McLeod kind of all together there with Jenkins, and you know they're getting a big boost from Avonte Maddox today, who has been a full participant at practice this week.
Yeah, we got Avonte Maddox back. How about number 93, Tim Jernigan, back in the starting lineup as well. So I think when you get number 93 back, it's not just about what he brings, on the field, and obviously such a good run defender, gives you a little bit of a spark as a pass rusher as well, but also just the mindset. All these players on defense, they talk about how the defense just feels different when number 93 is out there, and they'll talk about how, the opposing quarterback, he'll line up under center and look across the line of scrimmage, and there's this 335-pound defensive tackle flashing the gold toothy grin at him, say, hey, I'll see you in a couple seconds here, big fella. Having that kind of guy in the trenches with you is always big. It's going to be huge for this defense.
Well, and even if you look at last season when Jernigan missed some time and came back, just the emotional boost. I was on the sidelines, and you could just feel the energy. He takes it to the next level on the defensive line. Let's take a look at the offensive starters, and everyone should be really excited about one name, actually all these names, but especially one name that has not been on this list for quite some time. Deshaun Jackson has been limited in practice this week, but he says he's feeling good. Doug Peterson says he's optimistic Jackson will play. It's been a long time coming since that Week 2 matchup against Atlanta. If you count that, only 11 snaps in that one. How big is this for the Eagles to have him back in the offense?
It's going to be huge. I mean, this is a Chicago defense, Amy, that has not allowed a 20-yard touchdown this season.
That's ridiculous.
Run game, pass game, they have not allowed a big play for a touchdown. So being able to get D-Jax back out on the field, because the Eagles have been able to get big plays. They've been able to strike quickly with Miles Sanders. They've been able to get plays to Dallas Goedert, to Zach Ertz, and Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar. They've found ways to get chunk plays, but the deep ball, the 40-plus yard plays, those are the plays that have been missing from this offense, and that's an element that Deshaun Jackson brings certainly to this unit.
Yeah, and a huge boost to that offense, like you said, able to kind of add another dimension to that. Let's talk a little bit about the offensive line and just the challenge they are going to have protecting Carson Wentz against a Bears front that is very formidable, maybe not quite what it was last year under Vic Fangio. Is now at Denver. They've got Chuck Pagano there leading that defensive coordinator position, but one of the best defensive players in the NFL, Khalil Mack, is going to be trying to make Carson Wentz have a real long day.
Yeah, so coming into the season, that group, that defensive line had 2 blue-chip players, okay? They had Khalil Mack, obviously everyone knows, one of the best pass rushers in football. Then you had Akeem Hicks on the inside, the defensive tackle, who's just a step below, we'll say, a Fletcher Cox in terms of being an elite player in this league. But they lose Akeem Hicks to injury. You've got Leonard Floyd, who has taken the next step as a pass rusher opposite Mack. Roy Robertson-Harris as a name to keep an eye out for. He's a very disruptive player and has been making plays for that defensive front. The test here is going to be for Andre Dillard because you know they're going to want to try and test him with Khalil Mack, try and get him to work some of those bull rushes in, some of those speed to power rushes. Khalil Mack one-on-one against Andre Dillard, not something that you want to see often. So the Eagles will try and do a lot of different things to help the rookie out. You're going to see slide protections where he only has to worry about one gap. He knows he's going to have inside help from the offensive guard, Isaac Seumalo. They're going to do different chips with tight ends and with running backs. Quick game, get the ball out quickly for Carson Wentz, max protection, you're going to see play action, all those different things help out a young guy in Andre Dillard going up against one of the best in Mack.
I can feel the energy from here just from watching this. These guys are amped and so excited to be back home. Another thing I want to touch on is this Chicago run game that seems to be finding its identity, really seemed to settle in last week against the Chargers, even though that was a loss for them. What is the Eagles linebacker group up against? Also with Nigel Bradham still out, TJ Edwards getting the start there.
Yeah, Edwards certainly had a really impressive outing last week and really was his first extensive NFL action. As a rookie out of Wisconsin, undrafted free agent. This guy's really physical. He's instinctive. He's really good on contact playing downhill. So look for him in this game because my guess is we'll see the Chicago Bears try and keep that Eagles-based defense on the field. See if they can try and create some matchups with those linebackers. They were able to do that last week against the Chargers. David Montgomery ran for a career-high 135 yards. A lot of that was with 6 offensive linemen on the field. So they're going to try and bring another one of those big uglies out there, keep the defense in base, and try and run it downhill. That'll be a big thing to watch for in this game.
Well, and if you're looking at the Eagles offense, one guy we didn't talk about yet was Carson Wentz, the quarterback of this team. Really an important guy to make this offense go. He was not a part of the last matchup between these two teams, the Eagles and the Bears. Of course, there's some recent history there with the playoff, the Eagles winning, and the blocked field goal that everybody has, kind of still has fresh in their mind, probably. But Carson Wentz was on the sideline for that game. So a new look at the Chicago Bears for him. What do you see his biggest challenges being today?
Well, like last week, this is going to be a test where you've got both physical and mental challenges, okay? Physically, they've got Khalil Mack, they've got Roquan Smith, Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson in the secondary, so blue chip players at all 3 levels. But then schematically, from a mental standpoint for Carson Wentz, this is going to be big because, this is a new defensive scheme here with Chuck Pagano coming in for Vic Fangio. He left to go to Denver. So Chuck Pagano, they're going to try and do some different things from a disguise standpoint. So a lot of the things we saw last week against Buffalo, Carson Wentz was really good in that game, very efficient against the Bills, consistently put the Eagles in good situations. He's going to need to have a repeat effort here against Chicago because schematically, they do a lot of things to try and mess with the quarterback. Chuck Pagano, one of the best in the league when it comes to disguising things from a coverage standpoint.
And then you have a couple of Eagles who used to play for the Chicago Bears. Alshon Jeffrey obviously has been here for a little while, but Jordan Howard, this is his first time facing his former team. How do you think he's feeling about all this?
A little bit extra juice would be my guess. He's obviously a guy that's always going to say the right things, and he's very humble, but this is a team that obviously gave up on him. They traded him to the Eagles for, we'll say, a nickels on the dollar. So I think ultimately, when you look at Jordan Howard, he's going to have a little bit extra motivation. I think some of the stuff we've seen from him over the last couple of weeks, hopefully that's able to transition to the field. Because the Chicago defense, they have given up some yards on the ground. That's one of the big differences from last year to this year with this unit. You can get after them in the trenches. I would expect that the Eagles will find ways to do that here today.
Well, whatever was going on with Jordan Howard in Chicago, we know that the Eagles have been able to really open up things with him, and he's been such a huge part of this offense. Let's head back over to Lincoln Financial Field and check in with Eagles insider Dave Spadaro for the key to the game and the storyline. Dave, what you got for us?
My storyline for today's game is one of health. The Eagles getting some good news at just the right time with Deshaun Jackson coming back. We don't know what kind of role he'll have in this offense, but for him just to be on the field really portends nicely for the back half of this season. Having Darren Sproles back in the punt return game in the offense, a big plus for the Eagles with all the things that he can do. Avonte Maddox at the cornerback position, slot corner, nickel guy who can really play well inside. And then Tim Jernigan will help Fletcher Cox so much, that defensive front, showing some signs of life. The Eagles, the storyline, getting healthy at the right time. Now, my key to the game is kind of one that everybody's been talking about all week, and it's how do you deal with Khalil Mack? Khalil Mack, such a dynamic pass rusher. And I think today, for the first time, Andre Dillard will see somebody who's got a real power game. He certainly has the quickness to be a speed pass rusher, but I sense that today the Bears want to test Andre Dillard with the power game. So how do the Eagles counteract that? They're not going to leave Andre Dillard alone a lot with Mack. So you'll see 2 tight ends, one on his side. You will also see a running back chipping. Eagles cannot let Khalil Mack ruin this offense, one that Eagles believe they can run the football here up the middle without Akeem Hicks there, and they certainly think that they can get the play-action game going. So how the Eagles deal with Khalil Mack really is a key to what they do with this offense on this beautiful day, one built for throwing the football at Lincoln Financial Field. Back to you at the NovaCare Complex.
Great stuff from Dave. As always, I'm glad that he also is joining the Eagles and what we're doing in here with the all black. Well, he's got with the black blazer. I'm really I'm feeling that there from the Eagles insider. We're all one family here at the Eagles. Fran, what is your key to the game?
Well, I think we talked earlier about what this defense looks like from a big play standpoint in Chicago, right? They don't allow big plays, but what also makes them so good is that they get off the field on third down. They've got a top 5 third down defense in the league. The Eagles, on the other hand, they have the number 2 third down offense in the NFL. So this is going to be a really fun game within the game in this matchup. Third down offense for the Eagles against third down defense for the Bears. And ultimately, it comes down to beating man coverage because that's what they are schematically on the back end on these crucial down situations. So we're going to see here the offense is going to line up. The defense, they're going to go straight man-to-man coverage. I've got my man, one single high safety, five guys in man-to-man coverage across the board. One of the big plays that the Eagles use to beat man coverage is their mesh concept, where you've got those 3 shallow crosses over the middle of the field. That's going to create a lot of traffic. There's a lot of bodies in the middle of the field. One of those guys is bound to break open. We've seen a lot of big plays over the years, whether it's been on third and fourth down, in short, medium. A lot of important plays have come on this concept. But the big play element comes if you're able to get that linebacker picked off, where he's not able to work over the top and instead has to work through that traffic, play underneath those routes. If you can do that, that gets the ball out to the running back out of the backfield on a wheel route. So you think back, go back to Super Bowl 52, Corey Clement going down the sideline on a big catch out of the backfield. That was on that play. Darren Sproles last year against the Houston Texans, another big third down man coverage defense, a lot of big plays down the field on those wheel routes. This year with Miles Sanders, we've seen that play down the field on those wheel routes. I would keep an eye on Miles Sanders, number 26, out of the backfield, the rookie, on a play just like that.
Third down, the money down for this team. We love it. For me, look, we've said it before, the cliche is that the Eagles need to start fast on offense. So this time I'm going to say it like this. They need to play with a lead. Chicago's offense, we talked about their run game, how they've been kind of hitting their groove there, especially last week. They're not getting it done through the air. This offense in total offense is number 29th in the NFL. If they need to be throwing the ball to catch up, if they get behind, they are not able to do it. A lot of pressure on Mitchell Trubisky. Some questions about what's going on between him and his coach. How much faith does Matt Nagy actually have in him? A lot of the noise going on around the league this week. So Mitchell Trubisky going to be really desperate to have a signature win here and prove all of that noise to be false. If they get behind, I don't think they can catch back up, Fran.
Yeah, I think the big thing with that is trying to keep them and make them one-dimensional. We talked about stopping the run earlier. Stop David Montgomery, force Mitchell Trubisky to be the guy to beat you. And if you're the Eagles, you want to be able to corral him because just like last week with Josh Allen, the Eagles were able to keep him corralled, but he's got the ability to beat you with his legs. Mitchell Trubisky, for all of his warts, very athletic and can pick up yards on the ground. He almost won them the game last week with a scramble that put them into field goal range. They ended up missing the kick, but he's very athletic. I would say that's one of his strengths right now. Something that he can lean on is his ability to create plays with his feet. The Eagles have got to keep him corralled.
Yeah, and a guy, like I said, looking to overcome a little bit of adversity within himself this week, going to be looking to make a statement. Let's send it back over to Lincoln Financial for some players to watch in this game with Mike and Merrill. What do you got for us, Merrill?
Thank you, Amy. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous fall day here at the Link. 50 degrees, the sun is shining, and Mr. Quick, who is your Eagle to watch?
I'm going to check out number 26, the rookie Miles Sanders. I think just like in past weeks, they're going to be able to create some matchups and take advantage of his ability to catch the ball out in space and especially getting down the field. I'm going to pay special attention to the rookie number 26.
Well, I'm going to look at number 58. He's the newest Eagle, just acquired Jannard Avery from the Cleveland Browns. Young player, a pass rusher, and the Eagles can use one of those. Back to you, Amy.
Thank you, Mike and Merrill. I hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather over there. Merrill, I will let it slide that you're not wearing black like the rest of us today, but that's okay. He can do whatever he wants, in my opinion. All right, we are going to take a quick break. On the other side, Mike Quick is going one-on-one with Avonte Maddox as he makes his return from that scary injury, the concussion and the neck injury that has had him sidelined for only a month, which seems like a long time, but in the scheme of things, pretty quick for an injury like that. He's going one-on-one with Mike Quick in our interview from Pond Hockey. That is on the other side of this break. If you're watching us on social, head on over to the app. We'll see you in a minute.